Welcome back to the Muddy Roots Podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Ryan, here with Bill, Shirtless Robert, and Gage. Thank you guys for tuning in. And if you guys want to support us some more, follow us on Instagram and TikTok.
Please, I need a shirt.
And if you showered today, go ahead and hit the like. All right, let's get into it. Why are you shirtless?
You know, I asked myself this question, and it's, why do you do the things you do?
Yeah?
But it's also because somebody told me, you ain't down.
Oh,
You know, those 3 words alone got me in a lot of trouble.
damn.
So somebody said, you ain't down to, go shirtless. Man, tell me I ain't down. And then tell me. And then somebody said it again. I was like, oh, fuck. But shit, I do me. I do me things.
Yeah.
Put that on the shirt.
That's what's up.
Give it to me, please.
Yeah, let's take a cup first. I ain't down.
Damn!
Oh my gosh.
Son of a...
What the flip?
What the flip?
Have you guys heard about Lil Tay?
Little bit.
Lil Tay. So, since you guys don't know about her, she popped off when she was young. I want to say like 9 or 10. She popped off because she was flaunting her money. Everyone wanted to be her.
Influencer.
She got her account canceled from her parents because supposedly they didn't know she was doing all this shit. She was doing it for 2 years-ish. And then just last week, she died.
Pass away.
Yeah. Dead.
Pass away.
Que paso, eh?
Okay. It's not funny, okay?
It's not really.
Yeah.
Why'd you say it like that?
Horrendous.
I know.
Pass away. That was
Anyway,
very foppish.
she passed away, and what happened next?
Her brother, who was also part of the scandal that it said he passed away too, posted on Instagram that he did not die. And Lil Tay did not die. Both of them are still alive. And I think they're suing right now for their like accounts back and all that. It's either from the managers or from their parents. And what people think is that they try to kill off the account, like make it lose followers and all that shit, and just ruin it, and then give it back because they're looking to lose their lawsuit.
So Lil Tay got famous for just flaunting her money?
Pretty much at a super young age.
Oh, okay.
And she would just rub it in everyone's face like, I got more money than you. I'm
I was
driving
gonna
these
say, 'cause
nice
there's a
cars.
lot of people that flaunts their money too. Like you see those guys that like hold like bands or whatever, and just they like hold it up to their ears, stupid shit like that.
Yeah. So she's not dead, supposedly. And it was a whole scheme to just like make them look bad. You have a kid. If your kid was doing that, would you stop them?
Like flaunting money?
Yeah, and
Yeah,
just being super rich for doing it.
Yeah, no, I don't agree with that. I believe becoming rich, being a good person.
Okay.
I'm not like that guy who I don't believe in acting like something you're not to be famous.
Well, she was rich.
Well, okay.
It was her parents, though. Her parents' money is what she used.
Because me and my wife have talked about that because we have goals to be well off. Like we have goals to be financially free and all that. Everyone knows the rich kids, right? And they have like a bad stigma to them or a bad whatever. You know, you're just like, that's a rich kid. He's spoiled. He's annoying, whatever. Yeah. So we've talked about that a lot. Like I want to be well off and then also have my kids down to earth. Makes sense. So I'm against all that. She definitely didn't have me as a follower. I don't know who that is.
Okay. You could be like a Jackie Chan with his kids, he doesn't have them in the will, and he's not like giving them any money. They have to work for it.
That's me.
Yeah.
That's insane to me.
Yeah.
I will give all of mine up.
That's crazy.
Like, me and my wife have talked about that. We'll do certain things as far as like when we have money and we're doing all these things. If my kids come to me with business opportunities and they can sell it to me, then I'll invest in their company. But they got to pay me back. I'm more that way. I don't believe in giving, just handing it over and just being done with it. Steve Harvey actually is the same way. You guys know Steve Harvey, mustache dude.
You're right.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was thinking of Steve Irwin, the one that died, the crocodile hunter or whatever. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
So no, yeah, Steve Harvey's the same way. He's like, my kid's only getting 10% of my wealth. The rest of it I'm going to use before I die. I'm the same way.
Shaq's
Or-
the same way too.
Yep, I was thinking Shaq.
Shaquille O'Neal.
See, I think I shouldn't say this like this way, but good parents know the difference between handing your kids stuff and then making them earn stuff.
Yeah.
Because if you just hand them stuff, then they don't know how to work for stuff after you're gone. So I'm a big advocate of, you've heard the saying, if you catch a person a fish, you feed him for a night. If you teach him to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. I'm definitely like, I love that quote.
I get it. Like that makes sense. Just being sure that your kids can provide for themselves without having to rely on your money or having to rely on things that you've put in motion for them. But I mean, at the very end of it, at my deathbed, dude, I think that I'm giving everything to my kids,
Right.
setting them up just to make sure that they have that opportunity, because money's opportunity.
Oh,
and
yeah, 100%.
if they don't have it, maybe they don't make it out. And me being someone that could have done that, if I have like the means to, I think I would.
Let's say hypothetically I passed away when I'm like 85. My kids have already made it. Like my kids are doing well. They're coming up. Then maybe it's like, okay, yeah, here's a little bit extra just to boost you up a little bit, help you get a little bit more of a jump start. If I already know they're doing the right things. But I think if you give money to people who are doing the wrong things, they just keep doing more wrong things.
Yeah.
I think Steve Harvey says this. Money makes you more into the person you really are. So if you're a giving person, when you have money, you'll just give more. If you're an asshole, you'll just be more of an asshole.
I can see that 100%,
So that's
1,000%.
1,000. So no, yeah, that's a weird thing though. It's weird too though, because my kids will be pretty old. Hopefully by the time I pass away, where if you don't have kids till later in life, your kids might be old or younger when you pass.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I do not have a will though. Have you guys even thought about a will?
I have a will.
I thought
Really?
about it.
Yeah.
But you're in the
Military.
military.
Oh, they
Yeah.
make you have one.
Yeah. They don't make you, but it's highly recommended.
So what's the process of getting one?
For us, we just have a website, and it's like fill it out, and then the legal work, it's all done
Okay.
without us having to worry about it.
I've been thinking.
Oh,
about
actually, I went to a legal officer to do it. I had to fill out the will when I was about to deploy.
it. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
The thing about a will though is, do you have to keep redoing it? Because like, isn't it your asset? So the more you buy, you need to go back in and say, okay, my house now that I just bought should go to whoever.
Yeah. If I'm sure you can be like 100% of everything I own goes to this person or split up.
Or you can divvy it up.
Yeah, but if you don't do that, I'm sure you could just be like going like, I just got a house and I want this kid to have it.
You're right. That makes more sense to me. Like you can just say, my house goes to my daughter, but my money goes to, you know what I mean? So that it doesn't matter if you sell, buy, or if you have more than one property. I'm pretty sure you can get as detailed as you want, but you can also keep it vague just so for that if you only have one property and you keep moving, or I don't know if that's how it works. That just makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I know Robert Kiyosaki. He's the Rich Dad Poor Dad author. Have you guys ever read that book, Rich Dad Poor Dad? Anyway, he's the author of that book, and so he's pretty well off. And in his will, he actually has some of his businesses and rental properties, instead of going down to his kids and stuff, he has them going to like nonprofit foundations.
That's dope.
Yeah.
So,
So
for like
now
low income housing or something, or
I don't know exactly. He didn't say which ones. He just said it's gonna go to helping the people. He's like, I don't need to help my kids. They should have the skills to help themselves.
that's dope.
Damn.
Robert Kiyosaki is also a big advocate of once you make it, it's your duty to help bring other people up, and I agree with that too.
Yep.
Actually, we could get into kind of a deeper talk.
I'm down. Real quick,
Oh, yeah,
with
go ahead.
the bringing up people, I struggle with that. Like I understand it, but I think that with me bringing it up, it's with people I know rather than everybody. But once everybody's at the table eating, then it's better. Like outside of my family, outside of my extended family is what I'm talking about. Like friends and close relationships and stuff like that. But just like random strangers to bring them up while I'm still needing to bring other people up is a little. I struggle with that.
So the way I perceive it is, I don't agree with giving. I'm like I hate. The reason is I used to give money to homeless people. And I think I've told this story on the podcast. I can't remember. But I used to give money to homeless people. I was very generous, like $20, $50, stuff like that. And I was in Cedar City, Utah, driving through, and I saw a lady that said, "Hey, I'm just trying to get gas so I can go see my grandchild I've never met in California." And I had $100 bill, so I gave it to her, and I'm like, "That should be enough to make you." She's like, "Okay, thank you." Puts it in her pocket. I'm like driving away, and she's just still standing there. I'm like, "Bro, you're full of crap."
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't believe in giving 100%. I believe in teaching skills and helping that way. So giving free lessons
Yeah.
and stuff like that. I'm more of that than just, hey, come sit on my dinner table, come eat. It's like, no, I'm kind of a little bit like you, but then also my strategy would be to build schools and do that kind of stuff. But anyway,
Yeah.
deep conversation as far as Polynesians. I can't remember if we talked about this or not, but Polys are like generally we're pretty giving people. We help our families out even sometimes more than we probably should. Like right, I've seen my dad, for example, give his last dollar to his mom so that she can do whatever. How do you guys feel about that in our culture?
I'm the same way.
Yeah, I just can't.
I
If
can't
my
say
mom
no.
is asking, I can't. Yeah, I can't turn her down.
And it's not even with mom too. Like I'm with that in general. Like if I have it and you need it, then you're getting it.
Do you set limits or no though?
I need to, but I don't. But yeah, I'm very high on like I need to help. Like I have others before me, or I help others before I do myself, and which is really bad to a certain point. But at the same time, that like you said, that's how we are. We're more giving and
Yeah.
more helpful and all that
Yeah.
stuff. So yeah, if you guys need, like if you need $20, I got 21. I'm giving you the $20.
Which is a very selfless thing to do.
Yeah, that's how I am.
Yeah.
What do you think, Gage?
I know I just went on a rant about giving, but I don't agree with it. Like, how am I able to help somebody if I'm not established myself?
Right.
You know what I mean? And if I do say no, so if you needed help right now and I couldn't offer it, and so I'm working on myself, when I'm established is when I can do the most help. It may not be when you need it, but it'll be available. I think that it's important to work on yourself before stretching yourself too thin. And I learned that lesson the hard way. When my dad passed, I could have gone to play college ball, got an education, finished up the one when I should have, and I didn't. I stayed back and I worked. I worked at Sonic and and I thought that I was gonna be helping provide, paying bills and stuff, but I mean, in the long run, we still struggled. You know what I mean? Rather than me going to college, graduating, getting a better job, coming back, and then being able to help way more than I would have been able to just working at Sonic. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree a lot with what you just said. I think there's definitely a balance, and also I think sometimes get it like screwed up when they're like, "Oh, you need to help a person," and they just think money, right? Again, I think teaching is a good point because sometimes when people are like, "Hey, I need $20," and you're like, "What do you need it for?" and they're like, "Oh, I need a vape." It's like that's not important, right? Like sometimes you got to sacrifice, and so sometimes having those hard conversations of, "Look, I know it sucks, but you're gonna have to sacrifice some stuff this month.
Yeah.
I'm gonna work on myself as well, and as soon as I'm there, I can help you out. But like, I need you to work on yourself too, right? Because that's the weird thing is it you don't have to spend money to help people.
Right.
It's true.
Because like I've had people live with me, like family members move in with me because they were going through tough times and stuff, and that didn't cost me anything extra. I mean, I guess a little bit in food,
Or
but
like venting when people vent to you,
Yeah.
you're helping them
exactly
without spending money.
Exactly. So I think the money thing is almost overplayed in our culture a little bit because I donate money. Like, don't get me wrong, I do that because I believe you get blessings, 100%. But especially when you're a young family trying to just make it in the world, or when you're 19 years old and you're trying to help out your mom, a lot of people are like, "Oh, I just got to get money. I just got to get money," and it's like there's so much more you could do other than money.
Yeah.
But there's a huge emphasis on money in our culture. But some of it's good though, right? Like when we do leaves and stuff.
Yeah.
For like
Oh yeah,
like
that's a good.
funeral
That's a
or
really good
weddings and
point.
stuff.
Yeah.
I love those things, and I usually donate to all of them, even when I don't know the dude. Sometimes where it is, but it's almost a little odd to me that we do that so willingly, because then you never get ahead.
Yeah.
And like you said, if you can get ahead, then you can help tenfold, right? But I've even seen like my dad, great dude, hardest worker I've ever met. He grinded out in his job and all that. So he was making great money, like stupid money, more than I've ever made and stuff like that. But he was helping family and he was helping neighbors and he was helping the community and spending and spending and spending. And when it's all said and done, the oil field crashed, he lost his job. He should have, honestly, he should have been a millionaire already. He should have owned some investments and then still been able to help. But instead, he was helping so many people that he never got the chance to get ahead. And now he's still working. And I'm like, dude, there was years he made over $400,000. And it's like, back then, that kind of money is ridiculous. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I've just seen what it can how it can negatively affect your life, and also how it can positively affect your life. Like the blessings are real.
I guess it also depends on the person too. Like how, like say, your dad and you, for example, your dad was raised to like help or whatever, and you're raised to like more of thinking of like teaching instead of helping. Well, I mean, you still help, but you're more of like teaching them the ways.
I see what you're saying.
In order to get this and this, you know what I'm saying? Because like I'm kind of like in the same shoes as your dad. Like I'm more of like when I'm growing up, I'll help whoever I need. But the only thing for me is that I don't really care for getting paid back a whole lot. It's just like the satisfaction of just like seeing them happy. That's like more to me. That's more than I could ever want.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. For me, it's the satisfaction, and it's like knowing they came to me when they needed someone.
When they're down.
That's what makes it. Makes the world go round.
Makes me look like this.
Let's take a cup for making the world
Dude,
go
there
round.
was when Bill was talking just barely, I fucking looked over and I forgot you're shirtless.
Bro, it's getting a little cold in here.
I was literally thinking, like, because you're like, yeah, let's have a deep talk. And I was like, wow, Robert, shirt's off? Like, that's going to be all right, let's do it.
I know, in the middle of your talk, I sat there and I was like, oh, gosh, I can feel the vent, the air, everything. So the shirt might have to come back on.
So, do you guys believe in like having a calling while you're here on Earth? Do you believe you're put on this earth for a reason or no?
No,
No.
I don't.
I didn't think about it until you kind of explained it. I don't know. I think I was here just to help. Here to like, I wouldn't say the word bless, but I was here more of like helping. Like like for instance, if somebody needed help cooking, I was always there. If somebody needed help preparing, I was always there. Somebody needed help with money, I was always there till like till I could, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's what I was there for. Because before that, I didn't really think of it until you phrased the question like that. But yeah, I think I was there to pretty much help out,
Yeah.
help others.
What about you, Gage? You think you're put on this earth for a reason or what?
I don't know. If I have a life calling, I still haven't found what that is. I don't think that I've scratched the surface to even begin to know what it could be. But I do think that in different stages of my life, I have had different callings. So things that I was meant to do, things that I was here to do, because I don't know if it would have, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I think just throughout my life and different points of my life that I was here for a reason, and the reason was for that specific situation. And then as I've progressed and as I've gone, I think that it kind of switches up.
The
But
changes.
as
Yeah.
far as a life calling, I don't think I know mine yet if there is one. But I agree.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. What are you saying?
I was just gonna say that's actually a cool point that you made. That certain points of your life it might be different and stuff like that. Like you, because I know your situation with your dad, and I know that when that happened, you had to step up and be the man of the house.
Right.
And so I think that's a good point of view. I've never really thought about it like that.
Yeah.
At certain points of your life, but
What about you?
I believe it a lot. But it's just on my religious background,
Mhm.
right? So I'm not going to turn this into like a religion episode, but if you're any type of Christian at all, you believe that the Lord put you on this earth and what you're commanded to do is to help his children,
Mhm.
right? So that's why you're here, is to help everybody else, whether it's missionary work and try to get them to the church, or to just be there for them, like you were saying earlier, like venting or the number of other things that you could do, right? And again, not to get it religious, but in the LDS faith, there's this thing called a patriarchal blessing. I know your LDS. Did you ever get yours?
No, I haven't. Do you have yours?
Yeah. So it kind of, we talked about it in the religion episode, but it kind of like maps out like what you're supposed to do on this earth if you um, stay worthy and stay with the Lord and that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And so when I got that, it opened my eyes a bunch, because I don't think I thought I was put on this earth for a reason until I got that, and I'm reading it and things are lining up in it. It's pretty crazy. And so now I'm like, okay, I think I know what I need to be doing, type of deal. Um, the hard part though is working towards it when you really don't know the steps. You know what I'm saying? You mentioned like paving the way, right? Do you feel that's more because you're the oldest or because your dad passed away? And if any of these questions are too offensive or anything, just let me know.
No, dude, we're
stop.
here.
Yeah.
I don't mind. Both. Because of my circumstance, and then also because I was the oldest, I just happened to be. But I couldn't imagine one of my sisters being the one to have to do that.
Do you guys think gender plays into roles or no?
What do you mean roles?
Because you said you couldn't imagine one of your sisters doing that. Is that because they're girls or because they're younger, or both?
I actually just think it's because I wouldn't want them to.
In the same way, I wouldn't want anybody else to, like, especially like my younger siblings, like Ryan, Raymond. I wouldn't want them to like take on that role just because it may be stressful. It may not be, but who knows? I'd rather do it just so that they didn't have to do it. Type, you know what I'm saying? And just because, like, with my older brother being in Salt Lake for he's active enlisted,
Yeah.
one of the two. I don't know if they're the same, but with him being there, and then me being at the house, like like it was just like I felt like it was just like my obligation, just because I was like the second oldest in the house to take care of the family.
Do you guys think that's a Polynesian thing, or do you think it's pretty universal?
I think it's pretty universal.
Yeah, I think it's universal. In the Polynesian community, I feel like we are just more of attending the needs of our family, like heavy, because like I'm a big old mama's boy, and so whatever my mom needed, I was always there to support. And with Richard, when Richard used to live with us, Richard was the same way, and so with him gone, I just felt like I had the need to do that.
Which I think every family needs someone, right? Like they need a rock, they need someone who's paving the way. Because especially for younger siblings when they just don't know what to do, and it doesn't always have to be a sibling. Sometimes it is the parents, right? It can get super confusing, especially when you move out by yourself. Like it gets pretty tough pretty quick.
Oh
Right?
yeah.
I'm trying to think about how to word this, but like kind of like with the money thing, as far as sometimes we overstretch ourselves financially to just help other people, right? Like you're saying, if you have $21 and someone needs 20, you'll give them 20. Have you ever felt that way with being in the role of paving the way and being in the role of leading and taking care of others that way? Or is it just money that you're willing to just give your last time? Does that make
Uh,
sense a little bit?
yeah, kind of. I think it's just more of like I wouldn't say paving the way, but I feel like it's more of like supporting financially. Um, and like it could go different ways, but especially like within our family, like for instance, my sister, good example. My sister needed um like she needed all this type of stuff for back to school. And so she told me like I don't know if it's like almost like pity party, but she told me that my mom couldn't do it just because she was so busy with work, and so I took her out and I had to spend all that stuff. But I think it's more of just like if it's for good purposes, then I don't care. I'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like for her education, I believe that she's like the smartest one in our family. And so for me to, I'll do whatever I need to do just to support her education wise because I feel like I can already see the future and I feel like would she would succeed more or yeah, more than we did. I never went to college. Actually, I lied. I went to college for a week. I dropped out. This was expensive.
Does get expensive. Let's
But-
take a cup.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with what you said about like, each family should need a rock, but
Yeah.
also that rock would need supporters. I'm heavy on that.
Yeah.
Every family can have their own rock, but who's there to support the rock? So you can call me the Rock.
Nah.
There's my supporter.
Because no, I don't know how you felt, Gage. Obviously, you shared the story of you not going to play college ball. So you decided to cancel your plans to be able to stay back and support your family. But there's been times where I've gotten pretty pissed at my siblings. And my siblings are actually living great lives, like statistically speaking, against other people their age. My siblings are doing great. But I've been doing some things and trying to teach them certain skills and stuff, or helping them in certain ways, and it hasn't been reciprocated sometimes, in my opinion. This is only my eyes. This isn't their side. There's a second side, right? But sometimes it gets hard and it gets frustrating as heck because it's like you do all this, and again, it's not either reciprocated or like they just don't understand or they don't get it or whatever, and so it's like you're putting in all this work for just nothing to happen. And so sometimes I feel like that can get hard. So I think what Rob said about The Rock needing someone else to lean on at times, I think that's big. Because even the Rock of every family needs support at times.
Is there something about you guys you feel like needs work or that you feel like you need to improve on the most?
I have plenty. Number one is
Prioritize them. Yeah, number one
is like dedication. My dedication is slacking bad. It's like with dedication with this podcast, like even with my girlfriend, like it's just all over the place.
Wait, sorry, what was your question again?
If you look at yourself, is there anything that you would be able to work on? Is there something that stands out that you would want to be better at?
I think mine would kind of be a little more on like laziness at times where I feel like I need to do like X amount of things. Like I have a whole day booked out just to do shit, and I need to do like I'll map it out first, like from first to last, what I need to do, and then it's just like something goes on through the day where I just get kind of like clusterfucked, and so I just like pretty much postpone everything, even though I still can do those X amount of stuff. So I just get lazy and I just put them off, and then I just don't even do them. And then when like if I needed to do them at a deadline and that time comes, I get stressed, and then it just builds up. That's where it leads into like our mental health episode. That's where it started. It started off with like laziness, and then it led up to like stress level was going up, and then even when it was going up, I thought about doing things that I needed to do, but I didn't want to do them just because to me it sounded like a lot of work, and so it would just build up even more, and then it just got to the point where I was just like, man, fuck it,
Yeah.
you know. So I think laziness for me plays a big role.
Another thing is paying attention. I struggle paying attention.
Me too.
Like if besides this podcast, if I'm talking to someone one on one, after like 10 minutes of talking, I'm done. Like, and it's always shitty because like Jade, she always brings up like random stuff, and she's like, "We just talked about this yesterday," and I'm like, "Fuck!" Like I don't remember any of that. But that's one thing. That's another thing.
So I actually asked that question to myself like every year.
I thought you were going to say on the podcast. I was like, dang, my bad, dog.
Wait, what?
I thought you were going to say, I already asked that question. I'm like, oh, my bad, dog.
No, I've been big with that because there's a lot of things. We've talked about mental health is a big one, being raised a certain way. I just naturally was not good at it, some things like empathy and like all that stuff. I just naturally was not good at it. So I've asked myself this question a lot, and I've worked on a lot. And every year I set new attributes. I actually got a story with me and my wife that I'll get to in a second. But this year in my goals, I pulled up my phone to just read it. So one of mine is anger management and being more patient. And I'm like way better at that now than I was last year. The other ones were learn to commit time to goals. Kind of similar as you guys. Sometimes I'm just, especially now that I'm self-employed and I work for myself and I like me and my wife work together, I could be lazy if I wanted. I don't have to clock in, right? So I got to commit my time to my goals. shoot. There's two others that I'll read. The other one is learn to speak more professionally. That wasn't really taught in my house. So even saying right there is not professional. So I've been learning to work on that. And then the last one, I'm trying to be better about cutting people out of my life that are no good. And that's a tough one.
That
Because
is.
that's
That is
another
tough.
Polynesian trait that you just love everybody. And I love everybody. But I got tired of reaching out to people and not getting responses or checking in on people like, hey, you good? And not getting a text back type stuff, you know? So I have evaluated my circle, and if people don't provide value in my life, I've learned to. It's not like I text them and say, "Hey, you're cut off." It's just stop reaching out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, even the guys in the Kalapu, my wife will sometimes be like, "Yeah, but is it better for you or what?" And I'm like, "Well, it's stress relief, right? It helps me go. It helps me just speak freely. I don't feel like I get judged. I get to do all this. So, Kalapu's fine. Business people are fine. Like, people who I know are providing value in my life, I keep in my life. And I've had to learn how to be like, you're not providing value in my life, bro. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So those are the attributes I've really worked on. Me and my wife, very early on in our marriage, did this thing where we would, every Sunday we'd get together, we'd have 2 notebooks. And what we would do is we would write, it was either 5 or 10. I believe it was 10. 10 good things and 10 negative things about each other. So it's like you'd praise each other and then you would shit on each other. And so, especially because early on in marriage, I was a very immature dude. Like, I'd get pissed and I'd yell and scream, and then I'd hop in my car and just dip for hours. You know what I'm saying? So my wife and I, we sat down and we started this exercise, and we said, okay, this is what I love about you. These are some things I think you can improve on. And it wasn't like you got told those things and then it was like, that's final. It was like, let's say she said, I don't know, you don't do the laundry or something, right? And then it's like a debate. Like you can be like, well, I mean, you're home more or whatever, like whatever your points are. And then you work through it. And then it's either you change the perspective of the person who wrote it down or the person who needs to hear it changes. But it was never like you need to do this. And then you're like, yes, ma'am. Or yes, sir. Like we did not do that because I believe in respect. I don't believe men should dominate women. I don't believe women should dominate men. So we were very mutual with that. And I think if you guys would have met the high school version of me, I was like night and day difference. But I started that exercise with my wife. My wife's been a huge mentor for myself. And then also just setting goals of personality, like attributes and stuff that I've wanted to change. And I've just changed. I just do it.
That's good. But yeah, I can't imagine an angry Vil.
Oh,
Like-
bro, I get pissed.
Oh, he gets mad.
When have you seen it?
Bro, I've seen you pissed at work.
Even
Oh,
at
we-
work, I haven't seen you
We used
pissed.
to work together.
I got mad at my brother one time, and there was this, got super mad at him, yelling at him, and I'm like too rude, honestly. So that's why I wrote anger management in my skills that I've been working on, because I get so pissed that I start saying the most hurtful things. Like I'll call you out on everything,
man.
bro. So I was doing that. I was being such an asshole, and I know I was. I mean, I had a reason to be, but I was just too much, right? So I got mad, and then he had this fire pit thing. It's like a metal chimney kind of deal, and it's pretty solid, right? I was pissed at him. He got pulled away from me, and I just wanted to hit something, so I punched it, and it broke into pieces. Like I get to that point of anger where I'm just like, F it. Like I'll call people out. Yeah, like
And he was never like at work. Like he was never mad at like any of us. But if it was like the situation, like the shitty situation where it's just like, okay, you know how to do this. Why are you calling me like shit like that?
Yeah.
I remember I was at the shop one time and I was like putting away tanks, like acetylene tanks and all this stuff, putting it away. And he was on the phone. He was getting all mad, and I looked at him. I was like, "You good?" He goes, "Yeah." And I stood there, and I was just kicking it with like I was talking to one of the the people who works in the shop. And next thing you know, he was walking down towards his truck. And he goes, "You want me to come out there and do your effing job?" I was like, "What the?"
He said that.
And
He
then
said
I
that
was
to
just
you?
like, "No, it wasn't to me."
Oh,
He was just on the phone, and I was just I looked up and I was like, "Who's he talking to?" And he goes, "You know what? Just wait over there until I get there." I was like, "Oh shit! I know that term right there. That saying alone."
yeah, that'll make
I
you
know
do
exactly.
your pants.
Yeah.
You wait till I get there, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" So I was walking to his truck, and mind you, I'm still standing there just shooting the shit with the other dude, and I just hear this big old doof. I look back, and Vil punched the truck, and I was like, "Oh, okay, so I need to do something." He didn't tell me to put the text away, but I'm gonna find something to do.
Oh, son of a gun.
I was like, "Oh my gosh!"
Yeah, I got anger issues, bro.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah. What about you, Gage? Any attributes you be working on or what?
Can we take a cup real quick?
Yeah. For anger issues.
So
Thank you.
similar to Ryan's dedication, mine would be commitment and follow through. I've noticed that I'm really good at starting and I'm not good at finishing. I like to do it while it's fun, but the harder part, or when it gets a little bit more monotonous, is when I start to lose interest, which then I just drop in. If it's a habit or if it's a task or something. This next spring, I'm going back to school, and yeah. So, what made me want to go back was 2023. This would be the first year of me being graduated. I started in 2018, so 4 years after that, this would have been my first year of being graduated. We could have been in, like, just to put that into perspective of, we could have been in a better position right now than we are now. I mean, we're very fortunate of being where we are, but it doesn't mean it couldn't be any better. That would be one of my things I want to work on. And then the other thing I would want to work on was being in the moment. Like, I feel like, I feel like no matter what I'm doing, I'm thinking of or wanting to be or putting myself somewhere else than where I'm at currently. Like, if my wife and I are sitting at the house and we're cooking dinner and we're like laughing and stuff, I'm thinking about, where's the mix at? Where are you guys doing? What do you guys, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or if I'm at the mix, I'm like, dang, dude, I want to go home. I want to be with my wife, and like just stuff like that. It's not anything major, but I'm definitely missing out on a lot of memories, or I guess, and just not being in the moment. So that would be another one.
That was a good one.
That's a very good one. I actually like that one a lot.
Yeah, like with the commitment thing, that used to be like my biggest thing, because I would just say things but never act on them. But I've been like recently working on them. When was it? E's birthday? Just this past birthday.
What story are you
Yeah,
telling?
what story?
No, I was just saying, when was E's birthday?
In May.
Okay, so it was his son's birthday. I had 3 things to do all in one day, and I had my 10-year reunion for Desert Hills, and then I had one of my buddies' daughter's graduation party, and then I had E's birthday party, and then so I started off with the high school reunion just so I can just go over there, show face, leave. Then I went to Bella's graduation party, which was Bo's daughter. And then after that, I left and I came to Ville's house for East thing. All of those was like an hour and a half each, but they were like at different side of town. The reunion was out in what was it, Washington Fields, like kind of deep into Washington Fields, and then the graduation party was at the Children's Museum, and then back to his house. And like I just felt like I was on a time limit, but I felt like I needed to do like this and this. At the end of the day, I felt good, but I was exhausted. Like I
Yeah.
felt good. Like I accomplished all those 3 things that I needed to do that day, but I was so exhausted.
Yeah.
So yeah, that commitment part, I was struggling so hard or so much, and then I just like recently started working on it, and it's a lot to start with, but you can only go up from here.
Well, being committed though too is it's hard to do it every single day, right?
Yeah.
It's about building that stamina though, so that you can do it for longer periods of time. There's a quote I heard, and I'm gonna butcher it, but the general idea of it is lazy people work hard for a day and think that they've worked hard, or think that they're hard workers. Hard workers work hard for a week and think they could have done more, right? And so I've taken that into my life. I actually told that, you guys know this, I have a 18-year-old son. He's not my biological son, but we took him in and he lives with us, and I've been trying to teach him and raise him. And I told him that quote because he just kept telling me, like, dude, I'm working so hard, and I'd have to straight up call him out and be like, you were lazy yesterday. And he'd just like get pissed at me and like not yell at me, but he'd get emotional. He's like, dude, I just want to impress you. Like, I'm working so hard. And I had to tell him that quote. I'm like, look, dude, you work hard for one day, and I get it. You think you're killing it, but then what about the other 6 days in the week? That's what's hard about commitment for me is I can do 5 days a week where I'm just grinding, right? Like I'm working super hard, and then that 6th and 7th day come up, and I'm just in bed all day, not giving a crap. Go mix, go to sleep, lay in bed, go to another mix, like that kind of deal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So commitment is a very tough one because depending on how determined you or how strict you want to be with commitment, you can be committed for a day and it's probably not that hard, right? Being committed for a week though, or a month or years, it's tough.
It is.
Very tough.
It is.
Never heard that saying. I like that saying.
Yeah. Again, it's not those words. It's a
But
football
something along the
trainer.
lines.
He's a football guy. He goes and I don't think he coaches. I think he's a motivational speaker for teams. I think he said that it was at one of the bigger schools like Oklahoma or something like that. Or Arkansas, maybe. I think it might have been Arkansas. But yeah, I actually really like that quote because sometimes I have to put myself in check because I'm like, oh, dude, I've been working super hard. And then I'm like, okay, but have you really? And you start to think about the hours that you spent on your phone. And you're like, well, I could have done more there, right? Another load of laundry, another idea for the podcast. Like, there's just so much more that you as a human can do. Because, like, what you're saying, when you had those 3 things in a day, right? You go to sleep exhausted because you're like, dude, I was boom, boom,
Right,
boom,
exactly.
boom. How many days do you go to bed and you're just like, I didn't do shit today?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that exhausted feeling is a very cool feeling in my opinion. I love feeling like getting in bed and I'm like, finally.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I love that feeling.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of times I take for granted time. I do think it's a balance. I don't think you should work every single hour, every single minute of every single day because it's very tough on your body and mentally. So you do have to take breaks, but
Yeah.
it's just a different point of view. Well,
Oh,
I'm good with that. Let's wrap
Yep.
it up.
Let's do it.
So, again, thank you for joining the Muddy Roots podcast. Let us know how you guys like these deep talks. Obviously, we love them when we're a few buckets deep. So, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe.
Comment.
What did you say about showering?
If you showered today, hit the like.
Yep. If you showered today, hit the like. If you didn't, go shower.
get your ass